BooTube, yo, I am so sorry. It's like 9 something right now. Like 9+ hours ago I could have did this recording. But anyway, this is my reaction rant to The Flash Season 2, Episode 16, titled Trajectory. I can't even talk. To be fair though, I'm actually, hang on. I'm drinking a milk tea with pearls in it, so I have pearls in my mouth. But anyway, I can't talk today. This is horrible. And I'm trying not to be too loud because, like I said in the previous video, I'm sharing a wall. And yeah, that fool sleeps so early. But anyway, let's get this started. Hey, look at my Harry Potter shirt right here. But anyway, trajectory. I can't even talk. It's just so horrible. Anyway, from what I remember, you know, the Flash team are working on training Barry to go faster. If I remember correctly, Caitlin, Cisco, Wells, and Barry are all like training at what looks like a waterfall, and they want to see if he could jump from the other side and all that stuff. And I already knew it was going to be a bad idea, but apparently it's going to help Barry go faster and stuff. But yeah, he fell. Like, pretty much, I think halfway he fell, and then Cisco had this funny moment, because when Barry fell, he got caught by a net that was being pulled up by little drones, right? And Cisco's like, why are you bringing the drones? They're not going to help do anything well, blah, and all that stuff. And I was like, see, I would be kind of like Cisco, you know, when I bring stuff with me and they're like, why would you bring that? There's no use for that. And then later on, they're like using it because apparently they found use for it. It's like, oh, no use for it, you say. Don't need it, you say. What? That happens to me a lot in my family, especially when I bring like extra chargers. Like, I bring a charger for my phone. It's like an Android, and I have a little iPod with me all the time. And like, I bring an Apple charger and an Android charger with me. And at times I bring like other stuff. Like, for instance, I bring my DS charger and all that stuff because I play my DS a lot. And so, this happens a lot. People are like, why are you bringing all these chargers? This is not even your phone anymore. It's just an iPod. Why are you bringing it? And then all of a sudden, what happens? All my family members that have Apple products and they're all dying and they don't have a charger, who do they turn to? But anyway, getting back on track. Sorry about that. That's what it reminded me of. Cisco's little droid moment kind of reminded me of me, and when I bring all my chargers with me. Because my family's like, why are you bringing all those chargers? We don't need those chargers. And then all of a sudden, all their phones are dead, and they don't bring chargers, and who do they ask? Me! Anyway, basically they hit a roadblock because of it, and they decide, you know, when they got back to Star Labs, they decide, you know, decompress and have fun, get this little mini failure out of the way, you know what I mean? And, while they're at a club, and during the club, like, Cisco, Barry, shoot, I forgot his name already, Cisco, Caitlin, Barry, decide to go decompress, and also Iris, and it's cute, they also bring, God, what's her face, Jessie with them, too, because Jessie convinced her dad to let her go, and while they're all at the club, apparently another speedster shows up and robs everybody, including Caitlin and Cisco, which is amazing, and, they're in shock because they're like, holy crap, another speedster, right? And they're all trying to deduce where the speedster came from. It's like, there's no way. They thought at first the speedster may have come from Earth 2. Sorry. They may have come from Earth 2, but they're like, we closed all the damn portal thingies that they could go through, right? So obviously this is Earth 1 speedster. And they're like, how the hell did they manage to get another speedster? And then that's when, Caitlin comes clean, and so does Dr. Wells. Dr. Wells and Caitlin come clean about the fact that Caitlin developed Velocity 9, and of course Dr. Wells knew about it, and they told them the whole thing about Velocity 9 and the fact that it was given to Jay to pretty much help get back his speed and also probably help with Jay's illness because Jay took a Velocity serum before and that's what's killing him, right? So they pretty much cleared that whole thing up, you know, like Caitlin and Wells came clean about knowing, well, Caitlin came clean about creating Velocity 9, Dr. Wells came clean about knowing it and about Jay's illness, about everything, right? And Caitlin suspected a Mercury Labs employee that named Eliza Harmon. Now, she said apparently while she was creating Velocity 9, she gave like maybe 2 ingredients out of like, there was like a shitload of ingredients, right? But she just let slip to Eliza Harmon like at least only 2 ingredients to basically help her out, right? You know, scientists to scientists help each other out, right? And so she suspected Eliza Harmon. And Eliza said that, you know, she doesn't know what happened. She didn't tell anybody. She didn't do anything and all that stuff. So their suspicions were not really halted, but she was still on top list, right? And so, again, it turns out that Eliza Harmon actually has like a split personality. It turns out she actually is that very speedster that came into the club. And she has like a split personality thing because in the episode, you kind of hear like this voice in her head. This voice is like confident and, you know when you get like that split personality thing where one is like a shy, timid person and the split personality is like a more confident, out there person, you know what I mean? So like, she obviously has a head problem because of this, right? And apparently she goes under the name Trajectory. And apparently she's addicted to the Velocity 9. Apparently, with the 2 little ingredients that Caitlin gave her, without even giving the rest of the ingredients, she only gave her like 2. She managed to recreate the drug just with those 2 ingredients. That's why she ended up becoming a speedster, and it also caused that split mind personality thing that she's going through, and she's operating under the name Trajectory. And I looked it up because the name Eliza Harmon did actually sound highly familiar, and the fact that when I heard the name Trajectory, it sounded even more familiar, so I looked it up, and Trajectory, Trajectory, I can't even say her name, but apparently she is a superhero in the DC comics, and I looked her up. She's originally from Manchester, Alabama, and apparently Eliza Harmon was chosen by Lex Luthor to participate in an Everyman project, and that's capitalized, Everyman project. After she came to Lex Luthor begging to get super speed, and her wish was granted. She became a member. She became a member of Luthor's new superhero team. Unfortunately, with the whole project, she was not able to slow down to her normal speed without taking a drug known as the Sharp, apparently. And because of this, she blamed the whole predicament on Luthor and left the team. And she at one point did become a member of the Teen Titans. Well, let me rephrase that. She wanted to become a member of the Teen Titans and become the new Kid Flash. That was something she dreamed of. But her dreams were pretty much cut short. Long story short, Luthor pretty much stripped her of her powers. And he not only stripped her of her speed, he stripped the speed from her during when she was battling Blockbuster, and because, she was battling Blockbuster and Luthor comes out of nowhere, steals her power, she was ultimately killed. So, yeah, anyway, long story short, Caitlin never gave the entire formula, but despite that, she managed to reverse engineer the drug, and unfortunately, she got hooked on Velocity 9, and, she blamed her addiction on the work pressure and, of course, her evil little personality that's coming inside her head, pretty much to justify her actions. And she ends up, eventually this other persona turns into like a criminal speedster and all that stuff, right? So anyway, back to it. I thought it was interesting having a female speedster because, like I said, with Jessie around, Wells' daughter, who is from Earth 2, as we all know, Jessie's full name is Jessie Chambers Wells. If you remember, Jessie Chambers is actually the name of a legitimate comic book character who is a female speedster by the name of Jessie Quick. So the fact that this Jessie Chambers Wells, is not a speedster, but we end up getting we do end up getting a female speedster at the same time, where Jessie is kind of somewhat in the center of this episode, somewhat. So it's kind of cool to see that. But anyway, Trajectory ends up invading Star Labs, imprisons Barry inside the, you know where they keep all the metahumans. But anyway, and demands more Velocity 9, and she ends up threatening Jessie's life to do so. So Dr. Wells and Caitlin make more of the drug for Eliza, and at first she's like, "How do I know you didn't put anything in here and I end up losing my speed, right?" Of course, naturally, if I was Eliza, I'd probably think the same thing, Dr. Wells and Caitlin could put, like, something inside the drug to stop Eliza, so instead of trying it herself, she ends up injecting Jessie with it, and, in order to save Jessie, they had to do, like, a blood transfusion to, like, take the drug out, and then Eliza speeds off and wreaks havoc upon the city, and, Barry manages to track her down and save everyone on the bridge, because Eliza was trying to break the bridge, apparently, and, tries to talk to Eliza into, like, giving up, stop, this drug destroyed a friend, it will destroy you too, and she ends up refusing and injects herself with more Velocity 9 into her system before speeding away. But as she's speeding away, Barry notices that when Eliza's speeding away after taking more of that V9, her speed becomes so intense that her lightning, which was usually the same as his, which is like yellow, golden yellow, becomes blue. And then she just disintegrated. And, also, during that whole episode, that whole thing was a pretty big trigger on who Zoom is, as you saw, because Eliza injected herself with so much V9 that her speed became so intense it turned blue, and it pretty much gives a big hint on who Zoom is, because we all know Zoom's lightning has always been known to be the color blue. So far, even in the comics, the only colors you ever saw, even in the comics, when it comes to the Speed Force lightning with Flash, with any Flash hero or villain, it's always been either goldenish yellow or like a crimson red. I've never seen a blue lightning before. I think the first time is in this show. So it pretty much gives you a big hint that Eliza, using V9, her lightning becomes blue, pretty much tells you that Zoom most likely has been using the same drug, which is why his lightning is also blue, right? And, based on what they saw with the whole Eliza and blue lightning, they deducted that Zoom is, in fact, using Velocity 9, which is why his lightning is blue. And the reason why he's also taking Velocity 9 is because he's sick, just like Jay Garrick. And also, the blue lightning, the possibility that he's using V9 because he's sick, like Jay, and the fact that every time Cisco was near Jay Garrick's Flash hat, he ends up getting a vibe, and he ends up constantly seeing Zoom. They pretty much deducted that Jay Garrick himself is Zoom, like we saw in the previous episode, or episodes ago, where the team finally figures out that Jay is actually Zoom, and it's heartbreaking, because you see Barry so filled with anguish, because, come on, the first Dr. Wells was someone he idolized, right? And he ended up being a bad guy, and they find out another person that he was friends with and idolized is Zoom. It's like every time he idolizes someone and becomes friends with someone, they end up being an evil speedster. So I do not blame Barry at all for going completely bonkers on this. I'll probably talk more about it some other time, but also during this episode, Jessie decides to leave the city to experience the world for her own, which I think is bravo to her. She's taking her own life. She can't go back to Earth 2. She left everything behind, and while she's stuck in Earth 1, might as well, adapt to it. So, amen to Jessie, and I hope we see more of her soon. But anyway, I'll talk more about it later, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.